Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video I feel like is super exciting. It's like kind of a milestone. This is going to be my college reflection video. I just recently graduated from college last week actually, and I just truly cannot believe it. I feel like the years flew by. It went by so quickly, and I feel like so many things happened and I just grew and I changed so much, and so I thought that it would be fun to sit down and kind of chat through like freshman, sophomore, I kind of skipped junior year, so then senior year, and just kind of like how I felt in college, what I experienced, friends, growth, new perspectives, reflecting on my major, the school that I went to, just like all that kind of stuff. So I kind of wrote everything down. So I do have my notes on my laptop, and I'm just going to be kind of talking through the years first, and then you guys ask some questions on Instagram. Be sure to follow me if you don't already. It's EmmaCatherine09. So I'm also going to answer some of those and like guide my reflection from those as well. So without further ado, here we go. So starting off, I feel like I just need to like kind of give the basis of what I went, where I went, what I studied. So I went to the University of Cincinnati, and I got a bachelor's of arts in communication and then a minor in marketing. I graduated summa cum laude, and I did it in 3 years, which is awesome. That's probably like one of my proudest accomplishments now, because I really was just like so motivated and so dedicated, and I just wanted to get it finished and done, and I did, and I had a great experience overall. I feel like it was definitely a time for personal growth. Graduating high school, I definitely felt pretty lost. I was going through a breakup. My friend and I were kind of on separate paths, and I started to pull away from her because I was just like, I was kind of arrogant and cocky. I was like, you just don't understand me anymore. Like, I just don't want to be around you anymore, which I think I needed to do that. But reflecting, because now we're best friends again, it's just like, dang, I wish we didn't miss out on 2 years of friendship, but maybe we needed that. I don't know. But yeah, towards the end of my senior year of high school was definitely kind of tough. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Did I want to go to college? Did I want to just get like a full-time job? My family, my parents, they've never pushed college. It's never been expected of us to do after high school. My sister did 1 semester and was kind of like, you know what, I don't think this is really for me yet. And then my brother's never gone to college, and he is doing really well. So it's just, again, it's not something that you absolutely need to be successful in life. And so I think it's kind of to each their own. For me personally, I didn't know what else to do. I looked into nannying. I knew I wanted to travel, but I didn't know how. I didn't know how I would support, that financially. And so I just kind of felt like college was the best choice for me. So I actually applied in May of 2017. So I literally had just graduated high school, and I applied to our local community college in Cincinnati, UC Claremont. I feel safe to say it now that I'm like graduated. I really only had that option because I never took the ACT or the SAT, so I couldn't apply to any other colleges, and if I like had studied and taken it, then I wouldn't be able to get in until the next year, and I didn't really want to do a gap year. Also financially, we just like didn't really have the money, myself or my dad, to like send me off to a big school, and I was not interested in taking out a ton of loans. So I feel like it was just kind of the best option for me, and I'm really happy with it. I loved community college so much. I think I loved it more than the big university, or just like University of Cincinnati, because it was just such a small school. It was very personalized. You saw a lot of the same people around. The classes were a lot smaller. The professors were more motivated. They were more passionate about teaching, I feel like, than some of the professors I had at the main campus. And overall, I feel like the best thing was that it was a great transition from being homeschooled and having like super small classes once a week, or doing homework by myself in my room, and then transferring to like a 40,000 student college, which is what UC is. I was just like, that's a huge step. So Claremont was, I think, maybe 3,000 students. So I was like, okay, this is a good transition, kind of get my foot in the door, get a feel for it, and then move on. That was really just kind of my only college option. due to the lack of scores, which I think this year, because of the pandemic, they're kind of like waiving that, which I think is fantastic because clearly those scores do not indicate the success or lack of success you will have in college. So I just think that they're unnecessary and just kind of dumb. I did earn an associate's in liberal arts from UC Claremont. My advisor just recommended it as a transition because I knew that I wanted to do comm and marketing. So she was like, liberal arts is a good path to do that, because there were only 2 specific classes related to liberal arts. Everything else was kind of gen eds. And I was like, you know what, sure, like I don't, like something could happen. What if I have to drop out or stop taking classes for a while? I want to at least have a degree under my belt. So I did that and I loved it, and I actually got a significant scholarship that covered my entire second year of expenses because I had liberal arts as my major. So I feel like that was huge and just like really motivating, because when you're homeschooled, I feel like it's not hard. Like the emphasis is on learning rather than like performing well. And so I just like gained some confidence. I was like, okay, like I'm really doing well in my classes, I'm succeeding, I'm learning a lot, I'm doing really well. And so it was cool just to see that hard work pay off. This is the tricky part. Whenever I explain like my college experience, obviously already you know that it's so different than a lot of people that you see on the internet, at least, who go to like these big 4-year public universities with football teams and all that kind of stuff. And my college experience was just significantly different, but I loved it. So yeah, I did community college, and then you're allowed to take 2 classes on the main campus. So I did that just to kind of get my foot in the door, get a feel for it. I thought that I would meet a lot more people at the main campus than at community college because we were all commuters. Sorry, that's the dog that I'm dog sitting. And so I was just like anxious to get there, but when I got there I was like, oh, like it's not that much better at all. Okay, another thing that I feel like is pretty big and worth mentioning is that I did live at home for my freshman and sophomore year, and then I moved out for my senior year, which was great. Saved a lot of money. And I really enjoyed it, actually. Like, I have a very strong relationship with my parents, and I think that is a lot of it because I lived at home, and I also didn't really have friends freshman, sophomore year, so they were kind of my friends and we did a lot of stuff together. But yeah, I feel like that's definitely so, and I'll touch on that later because one of the questions was kind of about that and like missing out on the college experience. But for me, financially, it just made more sense to stay at home. But overall, I feel like college was definitely a time for personal growth. I was putting myself out there. I gained a lot of self-confidence and just like recognizing my ability and my strengths. I met a lot of new people. I was uncomfortable a lot of the time on campus, and so just kind of, you know, mental, physical awareness. I felt like I didn't fit in a lot of the time. I learned a lot, I grew my mind, I was open to new perspectives, and I just kind of, yeah, I put myself out there, and I feel like I grew a lot because I went to college, which obviously you can have tons of different experiences where, you know, you have personal growth and whatnot, but I think college was that next step for me that I just absolutely needed, and that has helped me significantly just figure out who I am, what I want, where I want to go, and I just think that's really neat. To be honest, I really do not remember freshman or sophomore year that much. Freshman year started off pretty good. I was still friends with my high school friends and we were getting along pretty well, but I was starting to get like frustrated with them. Again, just stupid stuff. And I always think of the tweet, if you knew me in high school, no you didn't. And I feel like the transition from high school to college is similar because I was just like completely different, and like the way that I acted, like I feel like I would never act now. But yeah, so freshman year fall semester was pretty good. I enjoyed my classes. I was kind of getting into the swing of things. I was liking, you know, being organized and like checking things off. And then you know, we did football games. We went to one party that was so lame that we left at a frat. It was not good. I feel like those are really the only two things that I like remember. And then freshman year spring semester, I will be honest, I suffered through all of my spring semesters except for this one with the pandemic, which is kind of strange. They were really hard for me mentally. I think it's just something with like the lack of sun and the gloominess and the cold weather and just the hardened environment that really gets me down. So freshman year spring semester was definitely a challenge. I felt like I was in such a deep black hole that I'd never be able to get out of it. And yeah, I think that was the first time I experienced a couple panic attacks, which I haven't had since, but they were really, really scary. Like nothing serious. I know that, you know, they vary and whatnot, but it was really, really, it was just something that I had never experienced before, and I knew why, but it was just, it was weird. I just felt dark and alone and lost, I think would be the best words to describe that. And then over that summer, I don't really remember, I took a couple classes. You know, we did family trips. I feel like summer, it's kind of hard to be sad in summer, so I think I kind of got out of my funk a little bit. And then sophomore year spring semester, as far as I remember, I really do not remember it that well. But I still kind of felt the same way. I was just kind of like existing. That's how I felt. Like I wasn't having fun. I didn't go out on the weekends. I didn't grab lunch with friends. Like I didn't have any friends at this point, or I felt like I didn't. So it was tough for sure. But I just kind of took all that and I just completely invested myself into my studies. I loved my classes and I did all the homework, I studied really hard for exams, like I just put everything into school. And then sophomore year spring semester again kind of continued, and then I got word that I would be going to Ukraine in the summer. I think I found out in like January, and I was psyched. I feel like that definitely lifted my spirits. I was starting to like text some of the girls that I would be going with, and I was just really, really looking forward to it and just getting out of Cincinnati and trying something new. And so I feel like this is definitely the moment where everything changed for me. It just, being in Ukraine completely changed my perspective on life. I realized that people are probably the most important thing in someone's life, and that relationships are worth fighting for, building, working on, and that was something that I had lacked these past 2 years. So I had tons of friends. Like we were doing things every day, every weekend, going on trips together. Like it was just the most positive experience. And I remember telling my mom, I was like, this is one of the hardest things I've ever done, to teach in a classroom, to live in a country where almost no one speaks English. They definitely have more of a hardened exterior and they're not super friendly outside of the home. And so it was definitely like more of a tough environment to be around. But all of the Ukrainians that I, you know, taught, or the families, our local coordinators, they were incredible. But I remember telling my mom, I was like, this is one of the hardest experiences I've ever done, but I am so happy here. And that just completely shifted my life. I feel like I became so open to so many new things. I learned a ton, I grew a ton, I had a ton of new friends who I still talk to regularly. They're some of my closest friends, and it was just exactly what I needed at that moment of time to kind of get me out of that funk that I had been in for the past couple of years. Starting senior year, I know I came home, I was uberly sad, like for a week straight. No emotion, I cried all the time. Like it was rough to come home and just like you're like hit with that reality of, okay, I'm not in Europe anymore, like let's try and make the best of this, I guess. So I had a house with roommates who I didn't really know, still don't really know. I wouldn't say it was a mistake because I'm glad that I moved out, but it was a waste of money for sure, and I did not like how I felt when I was living in that house. it was just, yeah, just not my favorite place to be. So yeah, but I was enjoying being back to school, being back on campus. I started tutoring once a week for this girl. She was the sweetest thing ever. I loved her. That was like the highlight of my week. And I realized kind of my love for kids, you know, again with teaching in Ukraine, tutoring. I was like, okay, well, maybe I could see myself teaching or, you know, working with kids or something along that line. But yeah, I was definitely still like not super excited to be in Cincinnati. But yeah, in the spring, I feel like I was starting to feel better, starting to kind of get over things in my past. I reconnected with my high school best friend, my best friend right now, thank God. She texted me on my birthday and I was like, hey, you know what, it's been too long, like we need to get lunch. And we literally talked for like 6 hours. Like, it was amazing. And I'm so happy that we both were like, I don't know, not like angry with each other, and we both recognized that maybe that's just like where we needed to go and part ways, and then we'd come back together. And then all of this obviously happened, so I moved home because I was like, there's no point for me to live in that house anymore since I'm not friends with my roommates. I didn't have friends that really were on campus and all classes were online. So I moved home, which was really good. Again, reconnect with my parents. I feel like it's been good. It's just me and them, so sometimes we get on each other's nerves, but for the most part, I feel like we get along pretty well together. I'm reading my notes because I'm like trying to remember all this. Yeah, I feel like when I moved home, I didn't realize how uncomfortable I had felt at school. I think this is the biggest thing, is that I never felt like I fit in. I always felt like I wasn't really supposed to be there. And that was definitely tough to like recognize, because I was like, why don't I fit in? Like, why am I different? Why can't I be like everyone else, you know? With the quarantine, I was working out all the time with my friend. We were playing like Nancy Drew video games together. I was doing school. Like, I feel like my mind and my body like reconnected, and I feel like I'm just really grateful for this pandemic experience. I know, obviously, take it with context, but it's been a very positive experience for me despite the way that we have handled this whole situation. I think the togetherness for me and the emphasis on relationships has been really eye-opening and important. And that's, yeah, I mean, I finished school this past summer, which I guess is kind of the elongated summer, but it's just been a really good year, I guess, 2020 so far, which is weird to think about, but so yeah, I kind of feel like that's my year by year. Again, I feel like I don't really remember it that well, so it's hard to like talk about, but I feel like I kind of covered like the gist of everything. So now we're gonna get on to some of these topics and questions that you guys asked on Instagram. The first question is, do you regret going to college? Are you glad that you decided to go? I don't regret it at all. I'm extremely thankful that I went, because unfortunately the world, or at least our country, works that if you have a college degree, your opportunities, you know, double, triple, like it's insane. And so I'm really happy that I do have a college degree and that I can have a lot more job opportunities and, you know, just in different career fields and paths and whatnot. So yeah, I don't regret it at all. I feel like it was definitely the personal growing experience that I needed. Yeah, I mean, I learned a lot. My perspective on the world, on people changed. I learned a lot. Yeah, I feel like it was such a positive experience for me. I think the only thing that I would regret is if I had a lot of like student loans or something. Did college make you more open? For sure. Definitely, I feel like a lot of colleges are definitely more like liberal minded, if you will, more progressive. But I feel like the big emphasis is on critical thinking. We're asking questions, we're challenging each other, we're having difficult conversations in a safe space. And I think that is really where we start to get our minds kind of going. So I definitely feel like I'm a lot more open. I'm a lot more aware of my surroundings and of what's going on, of different viewpoints, different political beliefs, like just all these different things, that I was really so sheltered growing up, like so sheltered. I didn't know anything about anything. So it was definitely an eye-opening experience and so beneficial, because I feel like I'm more of a worldly person, and I feel like my voice and my experience matters now, and I wouldn't have said that in high school, because I didn't have like I can't argue this because I haven't experienced it, like I don't know. So yeah, for sure it made me more open and just more compassionate, empathetic, just a lot of things. Questions about my major and minor. I know communication gets a very bad rap as being an easy major. It's too broad, you know, whatever, which I personally think it's a fantastic major. I loved it so much. The classes are so helpful because you learn how to talk to people, how to read people, how to have conversations, you just like notice so many more things within those classes. And it's also focused on organizations and, you know, how to, you know, PR and marketing. So it's not just like how to talk to people at all. So yeah, I really do love comm, and I'm very happy I chose that. Now when it comes time to find a job, like, will that limit me? Probably. But within like what I want to do, I don't know if it will. Let's her say hi. Say hello. I can't play ball with you right now. And similarly with marketing, I loved that it was more creative, but I loved that it was focused on like the problem solving and more of the process to how we do, you know, marketing or creating new products or advertising. Like, it was more specific, whereas comm was obviously like broader, but I felt like the two really meshed well together. There were lots of questions about friends. To be honest, I did not make like any friends in college, which I think is probably evident if you've watched my videos. But I didn't go out on the weekends. I didn't live near campus for that long. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't joining clubs. It's just like, it's hard. Like, people don't really meet on campus. They meet through dorms or through mutual friends or majors or something like that. To be fair though, I also did not try that hard. I looked at clubs, but they didn't really work with my schedule. I wasn't just like going up to anyone and like, hey, like, let's start a conversation. Like, that's just not who I am at all. And I was kind of content like not having friends, because I was just like putting everything into school, and I was working a little more than part-time at the time as well. So there were just like a lot of factors, but yeah, I didn't make any friends. But I think that if you do live on campus, if you're around that area constantly, then I think for sure you will start making friends, or at least seeing familiar faces. And you also have to put yourself out there, and that just wasn't really something that I was willing to do that much. I did a couple, like I met a couple people for coffee, which was good, but there was nothing there really. Another question is, do you think your college education prepared you very well? And again, keep in mind, I'm common marketing, so that's what I'm speaking from. I will always say this, STEM is a completely different ballgame. I feel like I wasn't I wouldn't say I'm prepared well because of the courses I took. I think I have a lot of assets because of the growth that came through going to college, if that makes sense. So learning how to work with people, learning how to email professionally, how to approach professors, all of those little things, how to present, that was a huge thing. I could not talk in front of people, and I don't really have an issue. Like, I still get kind of sweaty, but I feel like I always kind of get sweaty though when I talk, or like when I feel like, okay, like people are listening to me. But I can do a presentation now without freaking myself out. And so I think it's like the little life skills that you learn that make you prepared, but I think that you would get that with a lot of different majors, you know, and just being in college in general, or even in a work environment. Again, you don't have to go to college. I would say I'm prepared in the sense that I feel confident in myself and what I've done and what I want to do, but when it comes to actually getting my first job, you're essentially trained on what you're gonna do there. A lot of your college stuff, like you might be like, oh yeah, we learned that in one of those classes, but it's not like you're gonna remember it enough to like apply it, I feel like, at least for me. So I think it prepares you in a different sense, not necessarily like what you're gonna be doing in your job, but like how to go about it and how to handle stuff, if that makes sense. Would you have had a better experience if you had lived on campus or was more involved? Kind of touched on this earlier. I feel like probably yes, you would have a better experience because like I said, like my first 2 years kind of sucked, but I also, like I said, I was not there necessarily to make friends, to have the college experience, to go to football games, to go to basketball games. That was not what I was there for. I was there to learn, to earn a degree that is going to better my future, and to get out. That's essentially why I went to college. Yeah, I guess it just kind of depends on what you want. For me personally, and my personality and like what I value, I don't think I would have had a better experience. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I probably will never know. And the last question is if I have any plans to go back, and this is still undetermined. I think if I went back, the only thing I would go back for would be a master's in something, I don't even know what, but so that I could be a teacher, because my dad's a teacher and you have to have master's, PhD to teach. So I think that's the only thing that I would go back for. I don't really have plans to do that anytime soon. I definitely want to try out the degrees that I have now and see what kind of jobs I can get and if I enjoy them. And I definitely do want a career, but I've also feel like I've learned to live simply, so I'm not trying to get that master's to get like more money or anything like that. Like I feel like I would be pretty content with my job when it comes. And I also would love to have a family and stay home at least most of the time with them. So I just don't really know if going back like within these next couple decades, like if that would happen. My mom she actually went back. We graduated the same day. She got her master's in nursing, and so she's almost 50. So I was like, you know what, like literally I can go back to college anytime that I want. So I definitely want to just like live a little and see what happens and kind of go from there. That is everything for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. This was so fun to just like reflect and share. And I hope for those of you, you know, in your latter years of high school or going off to college, I hope you have a wonderful experience and that you make the most of it and that you don't close yourself off to any opportunities. Be open, be a listener, be respectful, be empathetic, and just kind of take all of those experiences because you're never going to get that time back. And I think it's really important to just embrace everything because it will change you for the better and you will grow and learn so much because of it. Thank you guys for watching, and make sure to subscribe if you're not already. Follow me on Instagram, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!